I know I can't be the only person that's wondered, why do some people just get more sales for their business and others just really struggle with conversions? And while there's a lot of sales and launch strategies that come into play, as someone who has worked with hundreds of brands and even been behind the scenes of traditional sales campaigns and launches, I found that there are four different conversion strategies, which I don't even know if you can call them that. I guess they'd be like conversion factors that really make a bigger difference than people give them credit for. And I just feel like people don't really talk about it. So let's dive into these underrated conversion strategies. And I think these are things that you can just think about that you could maybe apply to your current sales and marketing strategy. Or I could totally see you leaning into just one of these completely for your marketing. So hopefully it gets the wheels turning. Strategy number one is the slow burn. If we got really nerdy and talked about sales psychology, there is one buyer type that is literally the silent lurker that maybe is following along for years, months at a time, never really engaging, but eventually will just buy out of the blue. I know we've all had those types of clients where you're like, where did you come from? And this essentially is the slow burn. And I know for myself that has invested in a lot of different things for my business, but also just bought different products on social media. More often than not, you don't just like find someone and then instantly join your program. That absolutely can happen. But sometimes it literally takes years of consuming their content, maybe buying a lower ticket offer or going to one of their events, or maybe you see them speak on stage, you're listening to your favorite podcast and they're a guest on it, and then you're like, wow, I think I really want to work with them. Or the timing aligns where you're like, I'm looking for this certain thing, and I remember this person offers it or does it, let me go and look and buy. And this really dials down to people feeling connected to you and not just like a niche. When you feel like you've built that relationship with someone by consuming their content or connecting with them in small ways, it makes it where that compounds over time to them being super, super warm, totally out of the blue, and ready to convert and take that next step. I find this conversion strategy frustrating because in a lot of ways it means it's a long game. You need to consistently keep showing up for those lurkers. But also I find it really reassuring because even when you feel like your content isn't doing something, it is. People are listening, people are watching, and you never know what piece of content or what thing that you do could set them over the edge, or just how much that adds up over time. So that's why it is important for you to interact with and engage with your audience, for you to share things that aren't always related to your offers. Maybe it's your morning matcha or your routines or your interests or those little touch points. That's why whenever I'm thinking about content pillars for myself or my clients, we want to have some personal touch points in there because that's really what's going to build that relationship over time. And we add that on top of the expertise, then people are so much more likely to convert when they're ready. Strategy number two, which is a personal favorite of mine, is leaning into being a thought leader. When I think of a thought leader, this is someone that is such an expert and has so much experience in what they know that they're able to share that in a bigger way. So maybe they're doing speaking, whether it's virtual like podcasts or coaching in programs, or maybe it's being on panels or it's speaking in person on really big stages and events, intimate retreats. Speaking is its own thing entirely. It also can look like collaborating with people, which can be something like collaborating and partnering with brands on campaigns and with projects and things like that, or literally collaborating with people that are in your network and in business as well. Maybe not directly in your niche, but in something related to that. When you transition from just being good at what you do to being so good that people identify and know you as that person, that opens up more visibility opportunities. And the best part about this is that all of these things that I mentioned, partnering with brands, doing speaking, collaborating with people, that expedites the sales process. Because when someone meets you in person or hears you speaking, or listens to a podcast episode you're on, or see you partner with a brand they really trust and like, they are so much more likely to be like, oh, this person is not only legit, it gives you that cred, you're able to have so much more of a warm lead so much faster. And this is why this has become such a big part of my business, because you're able to not only open up a revenue stream, but you're able to get so many more quality leads and visibility opportunities beyond just social media. With the caveat that this doesn't replace social media. In fact, I think it makes social media even more important, because after they see you on that stage, after they see you collaborating or whatever it is, when they go over to your social media presence, does that align with what they heard? Does that align with what they saw? And can they find more information to take that next step? I cannot tell you the amount of times I've met someone or heard someone, and I go to their Instagram and I'm like, I literally don't even know how I could work with you, even if you told me, because it's not anywhere. I literally don't know where it is. And on top of that, using social media helps attract those types of opportunities. Whether you've had them before, they go hand in hand. I feel like this could be its own episode, but as I've started to build my done for you video content agency after doing social media management, retiring, and going back to it, I've been able to consistently get new clients, high ticket clients, and leads for our agency. And a big part of that is because I have built such a strong personal brand as a thought leader. Whether it's from speaking or the brand partnerships I have, or just the people that I'm connected with, that has allowed it where people trust me enough that I am a 100% expert at the services that we offer. So you definitely don't want to sleep on this when it comes to your sales and lead gen. Strategy number 3 really leans into the creators here, and that is freebie content. Traditionally, you'll see a business create an offer, and then maybe they create a freebie that's kind of related to it, and then they'll start to promote those things with their content. But with the growing creator economy, we're seeing the flip opposite of that, where creators will start creating really great content, freebie content that literally is its own resource, is so valuable that it is getting people results just from them consuming that content, which then eventually leads to this point where it's a natural progression to eventually create an offer or a product that people are begging for because they love the freebie content so much. And this is really where creators can build more than just a creator influencer brand and really create a business where their monetization opportunities aren't just based on what social media platforms are paying them or what they can make from affiliate income from sharing links and things like that, but they're able to really create such great content that whatever offer, a small digital product, a program, physical products even, because the freebie content is so good and they create so much of it, it makes such a natural progression for them to get a lot of sales really quickly, even if they aren't doing traditional launches. And even if you're not a creator, you can take this advice of if you create content that is so valuable that people wonder, how the heck and Bob, is this even free? Then they are so much more likely to, when you create a product or when you mention a product or when you mention something, they are going to be ready to buy because they already have the proof that your free stuff is so good, your paid stuff is going to be incredible. I always get the question of what is too much in your content? I don't want to give everything away. I don't want to give everything away. But no, I actually do think you want to give all the goodness, because the magic is always going to happen when they work with you, when they're able to connect with you in a more intimate way, when they're able to actually hold and have that next level resource. So that's why I really think you can never be too generous with the value you're giving in your content. And the final strategy is having a multi-platform social strategy. What this means is gone are the days where you can just fully be an Instagram girly and literally only focus on that platform. Not only does that leave you on rocky ground if anything ever happens to social media platforms, which we know is very possible at any time, any day, but it also gives you more opportunities for conversion because you're not putting all your sales eggs in just one basket. This works in a few different ways. First of all, it gives people multiple touch points for you. So maybe they're able to watch a long form YouTube video and they're able to consume a reel and a carousel, and then they're able to connect with you on stories. Maybe they're on your email list. Maybe they also get your podcast episodes. They're able to get all of these touch points where you're consistently having that same messaging, that same expertise, that same brand voice, and where they're able to connect with you in a lot of different ways, or they're able to connect with you in the way that they love consuming. Everyone has consumption preferences of where they like to get their content and which format they like to get it in. So the more variety you have in your marketing strategy, the more opportunities you have to speak their language, which will help them convert even faster. I will say this strategy is definitely not something I would recommend if you're just starting out. And I have like an entire framework on how to know when you're ready to start on a new platform. But in short, really get established, really get good, really get in a flow on your main platform. And that will make adding on your next platforms so much easier. And I highly recommend you aren't starting from scratch from each platform. Maybe there's cross-posting opportunities or repurposing opportunities. I feel like I've talked about this a lot when it comes to my own long-form content strategy, which I am loving, is I can record a video episode that not only goes to YouTube and not only goes to my podcast, but I've been able to pull from that for the email that I'm sending that week and for the reels that I'm posting. And so it's not that I'm literally doing different stuff on all the platforms, but I'm able to take one piece of content and put it in a lot of different places. So it really means when you're ready to add on that next platform, it isn't going to be the hardest thing in the entire world. I have more videos on how to turn your podcast into a video and also the benefits of a long form content strategy, in addition to a workshop where I literally reveal and deep dive into my entire strategy with this. If long form content is a way that you want to add more platforms into your current marketing stack. So definitely look for all those resources in the description. So just to recap these kind of underrated conversion strategies that really can help you increase your sales that aren't just like a sales campaign or a launch. The first is the slow burn, acknowledging that sometimes it's a long game and you want to make sure you're building those connections and relationships with your audience. And know that those types of lurkers are always watching. And that's why it's worth being consistent and posting, even if you think people aren't engaging or watching it. The second is to lean into being a thought leader. So whether it's doing speaking, whether it's partnering with brands, or just collaborating with other experts, that helps not only build your own credibility, but really expedites the process of someone becoming totally cold and new to you to becoming a hyper warm lead. The next strategy is freebie content. So not holding back with what you're creating content about, but going deep, adding tons of education, tons of value where people cannot even believe that you're giving this away for free. So when you have a product or an offer, it is a no-brainer and people are just lining up ready to buy it. And the final is having multiple platforms in your strategy. This is something you're going to want to work up to. Don't start doing this if you're not even consistent on one platform. But know that the best way to have longevity with your marketing while also creating content for different types of consumption preferences and getting in those different touch points with your audience, which is so necessary in the current sales landscape, you have to be on multiple platforms. And this can actually be a lot easier than you think with repurposing and cross-posting opportunities. So I hope you found this episode interesting and helpful. When I was just thinking about people really struggling with sales and conversions lately, it made me think that these are the types of things that people don't really mention that really impact their sales and conversions and really ties into your video content strategy on social media. Definitely let me know which of these strategies you plan to lean into more for your own marketing strategy. And if you have any of these that you want me to dive deeper into, I would be happy to do a follow-up episode. So definitely let me know in the comments. If you love the strategies I shared in this video, I highly recommend watching this one next.